My birth with my daughter was tumultuous. I had planned a home birth, and it ended up as an emergency cesarean. And there were lots of little bits, and that really opened up my eyes to birth trauma, PTSD, and birth dissatisfaction and difficulty. It was like, oh, this should be fine. Why do I feel bothered by it? You know, why do I feel bothered that they didn't ask for consent? Why do I feel bothered that I was ignored? Or why do I feel bothered that I didn't feel safe? Like, it was fine, because the clinician in me was like, it was fine. You know, it was fine. It was the standard thing that I'd seen over and over again. And what that led to was then a very difficult transition into motherhood. And for at least the first 6 weeks, I really struggled. And I never, ever anticipated that. I struggled with feeding, I struggled with sleeping, I struggled with it all, and with the feelings around it, and that sort of hypervigilance, and the intrusive thoughts and all of those things. And, you know, when I reflect on it, it's like, it comes back to the birth. It comes back to the birth. And I realized that I had been normalizing something that wasn't normal to me. It was normal to the practitioner, but it wasn't normal to the mother. It wasn't normal to the woman. And actually, I had to break that down and separate them. And then when it came to the birth of my son, it was like completely different. It was very, very much, I was a product of deep reflection, of reframing, of being very intentional, and having true agency over my experience. And when I achieved the home birth after cesarean with him, I felt a sense of elation. I felt that, and it wasn't because of the mode of birth. And it's what I really try and separate people from, where they're like, I can only get that if I have a vaginal birth. I can only get that if I have a C. It's not about that. It was about the feeling that came from being heard, being supported, having my team, you know, making sure that I had put the things in place that I could control, and I had relinquished the responsibility of the things that I couldn't control. That was vital to me. And when I'd done that, I was then able to hand myself over to the process and really engage in it to give myself and my son the best start I could. And it's not because I didn't do that with my daughter, but I didn't have any frame of reference. And so I wasn't able to, but I always call her the catalyst point for absolute joy. You know, she's brought me where I am. And without her, I couldn't have done it. And without her, I wouldn't have had the reflection and the overcoming and the kind of real sense of self and strength. So, you know, both of my children have brought me something absolutely miraculous. And I couldn't be more grateful.